I just yesterday we were watching out for what will be said about plans for education. Were you satisfied with what you heard?
Well, pretty good, but not as expected. There were things that we wanted to see or hear from the minister, but we couldn't hear that. But at least in terms of allocation, we think that what has been allocated now, if you compare, now we have 43.2 billion, and it's just 2% of GDP, falling short of the between 4 to 6% GDP UN standard. And so far, this is the lowest, I think, in 10 years. We'll still be doing the analysis, so more details will be coming. But we are happy because the government is interested in building additional 200 complete basic schools, which is very good. We know already 261 is ongoing, so we have additional 200. And the caveat from the government, from what we heard yesterday, is looking at the underserved areas, which is very good for us. Again, there were other allocations to education that was for us very good. The continuation of the sanitary part, we heard that. We also heard that all schools now, school feeding to procure local. Locally means using local products to provide food for the children. That also is good for us to boost people who produce. What I didn't hear or we didn't hear, we are looking forward to is recruitment and deployment of teachers. This is very critical in the underserved areas. We have a school that has only a teacher. And so if we have all these facilities and a school with, let's say, up to 86, but with one teacher, how effective will this be? So in a day of that school, a child will lose contact hours, but it's possible that that day that child will not have any interaction with the teacher, depending on what has been said of that day. So we are eagerly waiting to hear the deployment and recruitment. We need about 30,000 teachers.
30,000
to fill the underserved districts.
Okay. The shortfall in underserved areas is up to 30,000. That's huge.
No joke. Just look at the basic 1 to 6. Even from KG, you need 6 from basic 1 to 6. KG, you might need 2 plus the head. If there's a JHS, subject minimum is 5. So if you have about 60 districts, and we have a number of schools. I hope you get the analysis that I'm doing.
Yes, I clearly understand. Because linked to this was the infrastructure matter which you talked about. You said currently ongoing is it 260 new basic schools?
61. Yeah.
261, and you're happy with the fact that they are adding more. Is the infrastructure gap in underserved areas that bad and that wide?
You see, the 261 is per district. So one school, if you recall, this year, the directive and the allocation of the common fund was for every district to put up one school. The 200, if we also align it with per district, it means we have about 51 districts that will not get. And I'm telling you that the infrastructure situation is serious. Those that we built already, some will even need repair. And there are places that they don't have at all. Because they don't have, the schools are not also functioning. They don't go. We have over 1 million children out of school. And part of the problem is the school infrastructure, apart from all other factors that we know of. So we are hope that with this budget, we've seen the allocation, we've seen the order. My first point is that our first point as EduWatch is it didn't meet the minimum global budgeting threshold. You see, the 4.2 billion is 2.7% of GDP. We are, like I said, we are doing the detailed analysis, and the budgeting threshold is between 4 to 6% of GDP. That is all allocation to education should be equal to between 4 to 6. And we are looking at the highest end, 6% of GDP. What we have now is 2.7. And last year, let's say this year, 2025 budget, we had 42 billion allocated. So you see the difference is just 3.1 or something. That is fine. It's an increase. But it couldn't meet the minimum threshold of it. And then if you look at allocations over 10 years, this is the lowest in terms of meeting the minimum threshold. We hope that looking at what has been captured, the 200, the priority will still be given to the foundational learning stages. Because we've realized that even in the Bible it says, if the foundation is weak, what can the righteous do? Everything is on foundation. So I've seen we saw textbooks and all the other things. We can look at the foundational level, get it very strong. Then that's it. We'll still get the more details, but in terms of the allocation, I want to see once we get in the analysis, want to see how much was allocated to TVET, because this is also a critical part. And TVET gives our children the use some skills to run and to work on their own. So I want to see how much is allocated to TVET as part of the education. Yeah. So far, the 200 schools as we're talking about, we are looking as we speak now. We need about 500 more schools to reduce the deficit. So if this year we're able to do the 200, next year, at least we are reducing the deficit. So that will be good for us. And with the infrastructure, our comment that complete basic school, when we say complete basic school, we are looking at the basic and then the JHS with ICT, electricity, water, furniture, fully furnished, and the ICT fully furnished. Because when we went around in this underserved area, it's not easy. So now as we are building, we don't need to leave any of the facilities out with the view that we'll add it later. We saw the 400 washrooms or something, toilet facilities. That is good. Everything should be comprehensive together. So if we say we have 200 schools, we know that all these facilities are part as we move forward. So EduWatch, that's the way we are looking at them.
So you
So that
expect
is
a
how we
basic
come.
school to be comprised of, so the kindergarten,
That's
going
right.
to the primary,
That is the definition of a basic school.
okay, to the JHS, and then you said you an ICT lab with all the
Yes,
washroom facilities,
yes,
water running, electricity, fully
yes,
furnished.
yes. Furniture. Because that is the complete school. Now, from basic 4, they are doing ICT. I
Okay,
hope you follow the thing.
okay.
From
Basic
basic 4,
4.
yes, they are doing ICT.
Then there's also the plan that is on the table, because the government plans to get rid of double track within 2 years. Realistic?
With the double track, we need, as we speak now, there are so much things. Looking at the children, the enrollment situation, it will take more time to get double track off. But with the plan, get rid of double track in the next year or two, we think that will be difficult.
Difficult?
Yeah.
Why?
If you look at the enrollment and the facilities that it needs to build, we need more facilities to get the double off ahead. That's a good start, and we're hoping that we continue to, once we want to get rid of the double track, we continue to work towards it. We need a lot of investment into infrastructure too. And in that case, maybe if they use merit based, and that will cut off some of the children off. If we want to go by cutting off merit based, and then to assess senior high school, then that can reduce the number. But is that what we want? Is that what the government should do? But looking at the situation now, we have over there close to 1,000 senior high schools, and the capacity to absorb as against the numbers that qualify. That is making us say that for the immediate term as it's planned, and the allocations that has been paid, that makes it a bit difficult. But it's a step in the right direction, because it's the policy of the government to reduce or remove double track.
So for you, it's a good idea, but government needs to put their money where they are, a lot more money in it for you to be convinced that they can do that within 2 years.
Yes, if you look at the dynamic, the amount that is voted, or the improvement in infrastructure, once we get the detailed budget, we know specific. We know some E-blocks will be enhanced. That is good. We know mentioned those category schools. Some category C schools will be enhanced to move to category A. All of that. Let's look at this way. The double track, school A doing double track. For me, the understanding is that the same number, if 200 is for yellow, 200 is also for green. So that school is 2, technically. So if you are removing it, the infrastructure that is there hosting the double track, we need the same infrastructure to abolish it. I hope you get what I mean.
Yes.
So enhancing those schools, enhancing those facilities will reduce it. But it will take time for total total abolition. And I understand you cannot put everything into that side. Even for EduWatch, we are pushing for the basic system, foundational level, because if we get the foundations right, a lot of things will be gotten right. Before somebody can access senior high school, they need to go through the basics. So we have about 1 million children out of school. Then our focus should be getting them into our school system so they can access senior high school. But once the government wants to abolish the double track, yes, it's a good start. But 2026, 2027 year, I hope that is the time that they want to sort out. When we get there, we'll do the analysis and we'll see there how much more is needed to get it up. But once they've started, that is it.
Thank you. And Kofi, of course, we are looking forward to your full analysis of the education aspect of the budget. And please, when you do share it with us, and we'll have a discussion on it. But thank you.
Thank you very much.
Kofi Nkansah Sarkodie is program management specialist with EduWatch. They do a fantastic work, just checking on the education sector, telling us what we are getting right, what we're getting wrong. They are constantly on that sector. They move around the entire country, so they can tell you exactly the state in which we are in. They said they will look at the budget, the allocations, do an analysis, and tell us what they think. But for now, a few things they have a reservation about. Whether or not you can eliminate double track within 2 years is another matter, because there's a lot of investment needed in that area. They are also asking government that if you're doing kindergarten, primary, JHS, add ICT, add washroom, make sure there's electricity around the clock. These schools are fully furnished. But they are happy that there's a lot of focus on the foundational level for them. They agree with the government move to use locally produced food to feed the schools. They agree with that, but just that they don't think that the allocation, that what the World Bank says it should be at least do 3% of GDP. And from their calculations, they are looking at 2% of GDP that has been allocated to the education sector. That they don't think is adequate enough, that a lot more needs to be put in there. But they said they are doing a comprehensive analysis. We'll get that when they are done. We'll share it with you, and then we'll have a conversation with them on it. There's our discussion of the budget. We're just talking about the education aspect. We need to have another conversation quickly because of the engagements that the person involved has. But it's about the Greek aspect of the budget. All palm featured greatly, but that's not the only thing.
Our vision is to make Ghana's agriculture commercial, modern, mechanized, market-driven, and youth and women-led. The focus is on creating agro-industries across the country, dynamic hubs where production, processing, and distribution happens around the clock. So, Speaker, this is how we will feed our people, provide raw materials for our industries, reduce imports, create jobs, and make farming profitable. Once again, Right Honorable Speaker, in view of that, we have developed a national policy on integrated oil palm development. So, Speaker, government is launching the National Policy on Integrated Oil Palm Development, a bold plan to turn Ghana's red gold into a powerhouse of jobs, industry, and foreign exchange. Right Honorable Speaker, despite being one of Africa's pioneers in oil palm, Ghana still imports nearly 200,000 metric tons of crude palm oil yearly, costing over $200 million United States dollars. This policy changes that by expanding plantation, boosting refinery and processing, will create about 250,000 jobs. So, Speaker, the goal is clear. 100,000 hectares of new plantation, self-sufficiency in palm oil, and global competitiveness, and creating 250,000 jobs in the value chain. To unlock this potential, government will secure a large climate-suitable land banks through the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources to ensure fair compensation, secure tenure, and full environmental compliance. This marks a new dawn for Ghana's agro-industrial transformation.
Well, let's go over the phone lines and speak to Mr. Edward Caraway, Esquire, who's Director, Policy and Advocacy